Hi everyone. In this video, we will take a deep dive into Bitcoin halving, how it works, as well as answer some of the most common questions regarding this alluring concept. Bitcoin halving has implications for all stakeholders in the Bitcoin ecosystem. However, before we take a deep dive into the intricate details of Bitcoin halving, we first need to understand the basics of Bitcoin mining. In essence, new Bitcoins come into circulation as a reward for miners whenever they validate a block and mine this certain Bitcoin block. To be clear, the term Bitcoin mining is quite misleading, because the purpose of mining is not to increase the supply of Bitcoin, but to validate new transactions that are entering the network. The Bitcoin reward is merely a byproduct of this process. When Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, he set two important rules for the network. One rule is that the supply of Bitcoin is finite and limited to 21 million. The other rule is that the number of Bitcoins generated per block, or the reward, is set to decrease by 50% every 210,000 blocks. This event is referred to as halving because it cuts in half the rate at which new Bitcoins are released into circulation. This is Bitcoin's way of enforcing synthetic price inflation controls until all the Bitcoins are released. Now let's look at how often Bitcoin halving takes place and what the implications are. Halving occurs every 210,000 blocks because, on average, 6 blocks are mined per hour. This translates to halving occurring roughly every 4 years. This indicates that the mining reward will be reduced by 50% from what it used to be. For instance, in the beginning, the reward was 50 Bitcoins per block mined. This number decreased to 25 Bitcoins per block mined in 2012, and so on, with the latest halving occurring in 2020 and setting the current reward rate at 6.25 Bitcoin. One important thing to note is that the total supply of Bitcoin is set to a maximum of 21 million. However, there aren't actually 21 million Bitcoin that can be spent. We need to take into account that there are many lost Bitcoins that will never be recovered due to people forgetting their password or thefts. It is estimated that a third of the supply is lost forever, translating to approximately 7 million Bitcoin. So the actual supply, in essence, will be approximately 13 million Bitcoin if all things stay the same after the last Bitcoin has been mined. A question a lot of people have is, why does halving even exist? Why is there a change in the reward? Why not leave it as it is? Isn't it unfair to the new miners who are just entering the game? It all comes down to supply and demand. If the coins are mined too quickly and the supply gets exhausted, or there's no end to the number of Bitcoins that can get created, eventually there will be so many Bitcoins in circulation that they would lose most of its value, and we would see Bitcoin tumbling down to the sub $1 prices. The main reason for halving is to keep inflation of the token under control. And one of the major faults of fiat currencies, like the dollar, pound sterling, or euro, is that banks can print as much of the currency as they want, and if they print too much, supply and demand will ensure that the value of the currency starts dropping quickly. Too much of something in the market quickly leads to its devaluation. On the other hand, Bitcoin was created in such a way to simulate a commodity such as gold. There is only a limited amount of gold in the world, and the more gold that gets mined, the harder it is to find new gold reserves and mine more of it. And due to its limited supply, gold has maintained its value as an international medium of exchange and store of value for over 5,000 years. And Bitcoin will likely do the same, hence why it is dubbed as digital gold. So when will the next halving happen? The last halving occurred in 2020. On average, a block is mined every 10 minutes. Therefore, we can calculate that the next halving event is expected to occur around February 2024. This is, of course, up for debate among Bitcoin community members. Some of these members have noticed that a new block is being created every 9 minutes and 20 seconds instead of the presumed 10 minutes. This is 7% faster than expected, so the next halving event may occur before 2024. No one really knows if Bitcoin mining will affect its price. However, there is consensus among community members that it will have a positive impact due to the law of demand and supply. If less Bitcoin is being mined while demand is increasing, the supply won't be able to catch up to the increase in demand, naturally pushing the prices upwards. This is of course just theory and up for debate. For instance, in 2016, the price of Bitcoin did not move much following the halving event. Bitcoin was around $650 and went up to $675 following the halving, which isn't a big change for a cryptocurrency. On the other hand, when the first halving occurred in 2012, the price of Bitcoin spiked from $13 to $230. Of course, many community members and Bitcoin loyalists attribute this to the halving. However, the majority agreed that this was due to the bailout of Cyprus. There are still arguments in favor of the two scenarios. Either the price will rise or nothing will change as a result of the halving events. Nevertheless, the community does not see the price going down due to the halving, so the main trend for Bitcoin is bullish for the long term. So how does Bitcoin halving affect miners? Of course, the effect on mining on Bitcoin's ecosystem is complicated. On one hand, a diminishing Bitcoin supply increases demand and prices, but fewer rewards can also make it difficult for individual miners or small mining outfits to survive in Bitcoin's ecosystem because they may find it difficult to compete with large mining organizations. According to research, Bitcoin's mining capacity is counter-cyclical to its price. Thus, when the cryptocurrency's price increases, the number of miners in its ecosystem decreases, and vice versa. A halving event is characterized by a price increase and can increase the probability of a 51% attack on Bitcoin's network because miners move out of its network, thereby making it less secure. However, more sophisticated mining equipment and the creation of mining pools are making Bitcoin mining more sustainable, and the current computational power to mine Bitcoin is at an all-time high, therefore cementing it as a stable ecosystem. So we see the previously mentioned 51% attack risk as possible, but highly improbable. If you want to learn more about Bitcoin mining pools, please refer to my What is Bitcoin Mining video. I will drop the link in the description box below. So when will the last Bitcoin be mined? The halving process will continue occurring every 4 years until the last Bitcoin has been mined, which is predicted to take place in the year 2140. At that point, miners will be rewarded with fees which network users will pay for processing transactions. These fees ensure that miners will still have the incentive to mine and keep the network going. And with that, we come to the end of today's video. As explained, Bitcoin was designed to be valuable and specific rules were set to support this. There will only ever be a specific number of Bitcoins in existence, 21 million, and inflation is kept under control by slowing its distribution through the process of halving. I hope this video gives you a better understanding of what Bitcoin halving is and why it's an important feature in the network that gives Bitcoin its inherent value. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoy the content, please consider leaving a like, hitting the subscribe button, and commenting what topics you'd like me to cover in future videos. Once again, thank you.